Hello and welcome back to Mondo Musings. I'm your presenter Ricardo McLean with a video that will focus on Bryan Levell, one of the most exciting Jamaican junior talents currently doing the rounds. Now this video will also feature a theory that's been knocking around in my head for quite some time now, which I have dubbed Twinned Trajectories Theory. And it basically seeks to project the performance of an up-and-coming athlete based on the performance of an established athlete. And in this particular case, the superstar alluded to in the title of this video is none other than reigning 200-meter world champion Noah Lyles. So we pick the comparison up at the end of their respective age 18 seasons, i.e. the season in which each turned 18. In Noah Lyles' case, that was the 2015 season. In Bryan Levell's case, that was the past season 2021. Now, if we look at the 100-meter performance or the 100-meter PBs of the respective athletes, we see Bryan Levell at 10:21, which was done in the national championships, I think the semifinals of the national championships, while Noah Lyles was done at 10:14. So not much to choose between the two there, on par with each other. Over 200 meters, we see a 20.60 PB for Bryan Levell done into a 0.7 meter per second headwind, while Noah Lyles was slightly faster, though factoring in the headwind for his race at 20.18, which was 1.8 meters per second, you see that the gulf is not as big as it first appears. Over 400 meters, we have a 47.61 PB for Bryan Levell done when he was 16 back in 2020, while for Noah Lyles, we have a slightly faster PB, 47.04, but again, not much to choose between the two in the same type of ballpark. So that establishes the basis, as in the shared speed strength profile of the respective athletes, which is one of the foundations for the particular theory that I'm advancing. All right, now Noah Lyles started his age 19 season, which was 2016, like a house on fire over 200 meters, 20.48 in still wind, and he kept going from strength to strength from that point on. He went all the way down to 20.09 seconds at the US Olympic trials in that year, 2016, the qualifiers for the then Rio Olympics, and he just missed making the team in the 200 meters, falling short by less than a tenth of a second, finishing fourth, 20.09, behind Justin Gatlin, LaShawn Merritt, two all-time greats, and Amir Webb, who was at the time in 2016 in the midst of his best season as a professional athlete. Now, switching focus to Bryan Levell, we see where he got off to a hot start this season. Sub-21 in his first race, obviously a couple weeks ago, produced a stunning 20.53 PB into a minus 1.2 meter per second headwind. So if we're starting at that particular point, a comparable stage in the season, just around March, April, we have Noah Lyles at 20.48, Bryan Levell at 20.53, but into a significant headwind. So intrinsically, that 20.53 might actually be worth a little bit more, factoring in the headwind, than Noah Lyles' 20.48, but we put them basically on par. They're comparable performances in terms of quality. So starting with that as a baseline, I'd like to think that considering the similar speed strength profile, that we could expect something similar from Bryan Levell this season, something similar possibly to 20.09. And if he manages to get all the way down to 20.09, which I am positive that he can, he would have obviously have cleared the 20.24 qualifying standard for the World Senior Championships in Eugene, Oregon later this year. And the only question then would be, would 20.09 or a comparable type of time, a 20.0 time, a 20.1 time even, be good enough to make the Jamaican team? And while everybody has been lamenting, rightly, the performance of the 100-meter men, the 200 meters has also seen a significant drop-off in terms of quality since the retirement of Usain Bolt. I mean, over the last 4 years, say, since the start of the 2018 season, there has only been one Jamaican man who's managed to break 20 seconds over the half lap, and that was Akeem Bloomfield back in 2018. And he also registered a 20 flat time in that time. But since then, there has not been a Jamaican man who's run faster than 20.10. So if Bryan Levell is able to get down into that type of range, there's an excellent chance that he will be one of the 3 men, assuming of course that he runs that time and places in the top 3 at nationals, that he will be one of the 3 men who makes that team to the World Senior Championships. Now, the 100 meters is a glamour event, the blue ribbon event. That's where all the eyes are focusing primarily. But the 200 meters, I think, is actually the low-hanging fruit for Bryan Levell. So, those are my thoughts. Just shared with you a new theory. Tell me if you think it's a hit or it's a miss. It has some potential. If it doesn't have any potential, feel free to tell me that as well, and I'll discard it or try to refine it or, come up with something else. Always thoughts knocking around in my head. So share your thoughts on the theory. Share your thoughts on Bryan Levell. Share your thoughts on the 100 meters. Share your thoughts on the 200 meters. Let's have a discussion around it, all right? So that's it for me for today. Thanks as always for tuning in, sparing the time to check out the content. Until next time, Godspeed.